let's flip it from the job seeker over to the recruitment team, to the
Yeah.
TA team. Um, this market is crazy, right? Like 2000, I fell into recruitment um basically as COVID was happening. It's the global pandemic. So kind of late 2020. So I've only been in this crazy world for coming up to 3 years. But my whole time has been a wild, wild ride. It
Yeah. What a time
seems,
to like enter
Join at the
recruiting.
right time, Daryl.
I
Yeah.
know, right?
You
I
like joined
know.
on a high and then it's,
Hey, yeah, no, absolutely. 2021 was wild. They were throwing money left, right, and center at
yeah.
recruiters. Everything had bells and whistles. And then 2022, things got taken away. It's like you gave the dog a toy and all of a sudden he couldn't have it. And now it is brutal. Like we just seen Amazon do a bunch of layoffs, Meta, a bunch of other companies. And it's hitting nearly every industry.
Yeah.
My question to you is, you've got a ton of experience. You've seen these kind of storms. You've survived these storms before. What would be your advice to kind of TA teams, recruitment teams? Is there anything that we need to do to pivot, to adjust, to kind of bunker up and protect our candidates, protect our attrition? What would your advice be?
Yeah. Gosh. I Yeah, recruiting's a tough space to be in right now for a
Mm,
number of reasons, like you said. I think from a team perspective, or I guess we'll start with candidates and then we can kind of talk about our teams. But
yeah.
um, the jobs are more competitive than they have ever been, probably, at least like in my experience, because so many companies who have employed some of the most impressive people,
Mhm.
who have built really incredible things, now all those people are on the market. And so um, the competition is just really hard. And there was a question on one of my TikTok videos like yesterday. I said TikTok video. I feel so old. On my TikToks yesterday, where someone was like, "I'm a teacher. What metrics should I include on my resume to transition into tech?" And I haven't responded yet because it's going to be a depressing response where, like, you're not going to transition into tech, like, realistically right now. Like, there's not any metric you can put that's going to make you more competitive than the people who have multiple years of experience doing
Mhm.
the job that you're about to go up against them for, and they're going to get it.
Mhm.
And so
Mhm.
it's really, really hard. So I just encourage teams. I think we have to have a lot of empathy, because when we reject someone, if they react negatively, it's probably, it's because we might be the 20th like rejection for a job they're overqualified for that they've gotten, and it's really frustrating for them.
Mhm.
And over, and so I think we
Yep.
have to operate with a lot of empathy. And again, like, we have to prioritize a good candidate experience and find ways to support them. And I also imagine there's recruiting teams who are doing more with less. I mean, it's traumatic to go through a period of time where you don't know if you're going to have a job or not. And then maybe your manager's gone. Maybe your best friend at work is gone. Maybe your sourcer is gone and you're now full cycle when and trying to figure out the sourcing side when you used to have a sourcer supporting you. They're doing more with less. Maybe all of your, like, some of your infrastructure has been cut down, or the hiring managers you worked with are gone and now you're working with new people, like, so many changes. And so I think, I know, even though we haven't personally at my company done layoffs, like, I'm even thinking about the impacts of that environment on my own team and how we're kind of supporting them through the kind of emotional traumas of just like not knowing
Right.
what's going on. And yeah, so I think holistically, I would say we just have to like operate with more empathy for the people we're working with, the people that we're interacting with. And I would encourage candidates to do the same. Recruiters are doing their best, but we're also dealing with like never before seen volume. You post a job and you have 1,000 applications the next day. I mean, you know, it's really hard to
Yeah.
manage. And so if you're
Mhm.
not getting the responses you want or the engagement you want, that is contributing to it. People are reaching out to recruiters asking about their application or their job, and that person saying, "Hey, I don't work there anymore. I got laid off."
Yeah.
These are,
Yeah.
it's just hard. So I encourage like everyone to also bring that level of empathy um, to the search on either side.
Yeah, I think I'll just add something here. And I feel like I say this a lot, so people are probably sick of me saying it, but I think recruiting teams now more than ever need to be looking for other opportunities to provide value within the business, because
Yeah.
a lot of teams have slowed down on their hiring. There's a lot of uncertainty. Budgets are being recalibrated. Things are being put on hold. And so when that's the case, instead of kind of just sitting on your hands and saying, well, gee, I hope I still have a job in 2 months, right? Instead, I would say, look at the organization and where can you contribute elsewhere? Where are some other holes that you can fill? And maybe this is a strategic conversation you have with your head of people or, someone within the org, and say, hey, look, I want to continue to provide value to this business. Like where can I be deployed? Where can I be used? What problems are we having? Right. And so, and maybe it's a people project. Maybe it's something completely out of your realm. But at the end of the day, I think we're in this mode where we just have to get creative and say, how can I better support the business outside of direct hiring? Because that's all I've known. But it's not happening, and so, maybe you have some thoughts on that, but I just think that we have to be willing to expand what we're doing and what we're willing to do in this time where, hiring, someone said it best, I think, where they said, hiring is great until it's not, right? Like recruiting is great until it's not. And so when it falls off a cliff, like, what are we going to do? And what other options do we have?
Yeah, I love that. I mean, that's actually something my company has been doing. We have our recruiting team right now, a lot of our recruiting team working on projects in other parts of the business. Because the reality is, like, we don't have enough work for our recruiting team, but we also, we don't know what the long term is going to look like. And so it didn't make sense to shrink our team when we're not really sure what our needs will be 6 months from now. And so, but we also needed work for people to do. So for us, it did look like finding projects across the business. So we have people working, like someone on my team is working on developing sales onboarding. They have some like L&D in their background, so it was a good fit. We have people working on various like projects. Someone was creating a hub for our ERG leaders. We've had people doing covering like a parental leave. Someone's a coordinator on our L&D team while one of their team members is out on leave. And so a lot of those places where we might have had to either stop work on certain projects while waiting on that person to return or hire a temp worker, instead we're able to use our team. And so I do think there are ways, if we get creative. Recruiters have a ton of skills. I mean, they project manage, they doing outbound sales, they're managing a pipeline. Of course, people are different than dollars, but it's a lot of it's transferable. So there's a lot of skills that recruiters can bring into the business. And it also, I think, helps. I think it's beneficial for us recruiters to look for those opportunities, as you said, and like ask for ways to contribute, because then it's building more diverse resumes for us. And we're seeing, if there's not as much opportunity in recruiting, and we've seen a huge influx of recruiters, so it's a more competitive space. So I think having a more diverse resume that, shows your ability to do a variety of things is only an asset right now.
Yeah. And imagine shifting your perspective from saying, oh man, no one's hiring right now, to saying, during this time when we weren't hiring, I was able to develop these 3 additional skills that I now can deploy in future roles, right? Maybe it's what propels you into a leadership role, right? So I think perspective is really key here as well.